was found dead in a gory crime scene on June the 9th, 2008, 5 days after his murder. This is the brutal murder of Travis Alexander, stabbed 27 times. I don't know why it says 27 when before it said 30, but I'm reading it up this other side, so bear with me. By his girlfriend Jody Arias. His throat was slit ear to ear, his head almost decapitated, a gunshot to the head, and left bleeding to death on his bathroom floor. Travis Alexander had a traumatic childhood and lost his father in a fatal accident on his 20th birthday. He had confided in his friends he had found a wife and planned to marry Jody Arias. A hidden camera inside his washing machine captured his brutal murder as it happened. Travis Alexander, 30, was born into a poverty-stricken home on July the 28th, 1977 in California. He had a traumatic childhood with 7 siblings, as his parents were addicted to drugs and often physically abused them in violent rampages. His brother Dennis Alexander later became addicted to drugs himself and was convicted of theft and a misdemeanor battery. At age 11, Travis Alexander relocated to live with his grandmother, and his 7 siblings joined him after their father's death. He failed to attend college as it was not for him, and on his 20th birthday in July 1997, Travis lost his father in a fatal accident. Travis Alexander aspired to become a motivational speaker and worked various jobs in telemarketing and retails before he became an adult. As an adult, he became a devout Mormon, travelled around and settled in Mesa, Arizona. He went on missions with fellow Mormon girls, dated a few, and wrote in his journal that he considered himself blessed and devoted time for charity. Travis Alexander was deeply emotional and spiritual, and when he prayed for a successful job, it appeared his prayers were answered in form of Chris Hughes, a fellow Mormon, who helped him join prepaid legal services as a salesman at Prepaid Legal Services, now known as Legal Shield. Travis Alexander met Jody Arias for the first time in September 2006 at the company's convention in Las Vegas. A chance meeting it was. tumultuous years in what was considered as one of the biggest spectacles in American history. Jodi Arias, 26, was a stunning blonde and seemingly carefree, aspiring photographer. She was really excited about meeting Travis, and they began dating in 2007. Travis lived in Mesa, Arizona, while Arias lived in California. She loved how funny he was and how much fun they had together. Travis, on his part, was smitten by her beauty, and in an email he shared with a friend, Travis said, "I went from intrigued by her to interested in her to caring about her deeply to realizing how lucky I would be to have her as part of my life forever. She is amazing." It is not hard to see that whoever scores Jodi, whether it be me or someone else, is gonna win the wife lotto. Their relationship quickly bloomed, and both would take turns in visiting each other, but they split up 5 months later as Travis reportedly felt guilty over his sexual relationship due to his beliefs as a Mormon. They later got back together, and Arias moved over from California to Mesa, Arizona, so they could be closer to each other. Arias even got baptized as a Mormon. She loved art, success, and believed that teaching her kids the joys of success would be rewarding. There is no denial that Jodi Arias is stunning and her beauty breathtaking, but her incessant hovering, stalking, and frighteningly cold obsessions over Travis were considered disturbing by his friends. Travis once divulged to his friends that during their split, Arias had slashed his car tires, hacked into his Facebook page, and harassed the woman he hung out with. A couple of times she snuck into his apartment. According to Travis's friends, she had stalker-like attributes and would listen in on his conversations, read his text messages and emails, and even forwarded some of these conversations with other women to herself. Several of his friends noted how Arias would follow Travis to the bathroom and wait outside the door. According to Sky Hodges, one of Travis's best friends who spoke to ABC News, she had a frighteningly cold feeling finding Arias outside the bathroom door. "I started seeing sick, and in May 2008, a month before his gruesome murder, Travis called Arias a sociopath. Then he told his friends, "Don't be surprised if you find me dead one day." In June 2008, Travis Alexander asked Arias to join him on a work trip to Cancun, Mexico, shortly before the scheduled trip. He changed his mind and decided to take a female friend in her place. They were due to leave Cancun on June the 10th. A month earlier, on May the 28th, there had been a burglary at the house of Arias' grandparents. A 25 caliber automatic Colt pistol had been stolen amongst other items. On June 2nd, Arias tried meeting with Travis but failed. They eventually spoke on the phone. That same day, she rented a car at Budget Rent in Redding, California. She later dyed her hair from blonde to brown, attended business meetings, and drove to Utah on June the 5th. In Utah, she visited her former boyfriend Ryan Burns at his apartment, and Ryan noted several cuts on her hands. Jody Arias returned the rented car 2 days later on June the 7th, and the receiving clerk noted red stains on the seats and missing floor mats. Travis Alexander was supposed to be at a conference call on June the 4th, but surprisingly missed the call. His friend, whom he was supposed to travel with, became worried, having not heard from him after a few days, and contacted his friends Melissa Lowry and Dallin Fours on June the 9th. The two friends went over to Travis's locked apartment and, on entering, found thick pools of blood everywhere. As they entered his bedroom, there were large pools of blood in the hallway, and terrifyingly, Travis's crumpled, bloodied, and lifeless corpse was lying on his bathroom floor. They immediately dialed 911. Travis's body was crumpled, mangled, and mutilated with 27 stab wounds on the back. His throat had been slit from ear to another, severing the jugular vein. Carotid artery and trachea in one deep gash that he was almost decapitated. Several cuts on his hands suggested defensive wounds that he had tried to defend himself, but ultimately fell to the piercing daggers of the knife he had been repeatedly stabbed with. He also had a gunshot wound and bloody towels hung all over the bathroom. Investigators found long brown hairs on the floor, a bloody handprint on the walls of his bedroom, and a hidden camera in the washing was ruled as homicide. Within hours of Travis Alexander's mutilated corpse being found, Jodi Arias contacted the police. She denied being at his house and even told investigators she had not seen him for 2 months. During his memorial service in Arizona, she agreed to be fingerprinted by the police, and a month later, on July the 9th, 2008, Jodi Arias was indicted on the killing of Travis Alexander. 6 days later, she was arrested on charges of the first-degree murder of salesman Travis Alexander. Investigators had linked the bloody handprint on the wall to her DNA and had been able to extract time-stamped images from the hidden waterlogged camera in the washing machine. The images painted very gruesome and horrific scenes. Travis Alexander and his girlfriend Jodi Arias had sex in the evening, and one image showed Travis in the shower at 5:29 p.m. having his bath. Other shots showed photos taken of Travis bleeding heavily from his severed throat, and another showed Arias actually dragging his body across the ground. Arias denied all allegations, saying she drove to Utah on the day he was killed to see a new guy she was dating. She later went on air claiming he was killed by 2 intruders while they took photos in the bathroom. The intruders, a man and a woman, were determined to kill Travis and threatened that if she ever mentioned it, her whole family will be killed. Prosecutors filed a motion asking for the death penalty, and Arias later changed her story, arguing she acted in self-defense as she submitted letters allegedly written by Travis Alexander to prove she was a previous victim of his sexual and physical abuse. Jodi Arias' trial was one of the most captivating stories in 2013 and drew large crowds and media attention all over the States. The trial, broadcast live worldwide, was compared to a soap opera and shook the American society to its core. Jodi Arias' trial began on January the 2nd, 2013, and Arias was shown graphic images of Travis Alexander's murder scene, his mutilated corpse, and evidence of the towels she used in wiping his blood. Arias admitted to killing Travis, but claimed was forced to do so as he became violent because she dropped his camera. There was a struggle and she had to protect herself. If she did not have to defend herself, she would not be here, her lawyer told the court. Her defense included claiming Travis was addicted to sex and pornography, including child porn, as she once caught him masturbating to the photo of a child. According to the defense, Travis Alexander subjected Arias to stalk, physical, verbal and emotional abuse. Her defense attorney, Jennifer Wilmot, said that Arias was Travis Alexander's dirty little secret, and despite his best efforts to portray himself as a good man and Mormon, he was a sexual predator and deviant who preyed on her sexual feelings and pushed her to have a sexual relationship with him. Prosecutors countered the claim and built their case on jealousy. They alleged that after Travis Alexander had withdrawn his invitation to Arias on joining him to Cancun, she went into a jealous rage and murdered him. They also alleged that Jodi Arias intentionally travelled to her boyfriend Travis Alexander's apartment with a gun and knife with the premeditated intention of killing him. During cross-examination, prosecutors questioned Arias on how the same gun from her grandparents' house had someone ended up being used in shooting Travis, though he had already died from his wounds. I don't have a gun. I've never seen it. I don't even know what a 25 looks like, Arias replied. She was also quizzed by the prosecution on why she kept having sex with Travis Alexander, although she was aware of his alleged child-born sexual deviations. At a point, Jodi Arias was asked nearly 150 questions, with key ones bordering on why she claimed she never enjoyed anal sex with Travis, although she had a documented history of trying anal sex. How she had a good memory recalling her sexual escapades, but passed out while trying to recall if she stabbed Travis 27 times, and why she claimed she brought a gun to commit suicide but never ended up doing so. A sex tape was also played for the jury in court, and a video evidence admitted of Jodi Arias repeatedly denying killing Travis Alexander. I would never want to hurt him. He never raped me. If I was going to ever try to kill somebody, I would use gloves. I have plenty of them. I did not take his life. On May the 8th, 2013, gasps and sighs pierced the courtroom silence as Jodi Arias was found guilty of the premeditated and first-degree murder of Travis Alexander. The prosecution had successfully tied her fingerprints to the blood stamp found on his bedroom wall, and Jodi Arias had failed to explain why she arrived a day late in Utah to see Ryan Burns, despite being expected on June the 4th, 2008, day of Travis's murder. She claimed her phone had died and she had gotten lost on the way. During her sentencing on May the 8th, Jodi Arias had become widely regarded as the most such a cruel and aggravating manner that qualified her for the death penalty. The jury, however, failed to unanimously agree on the death penalty 8-4, and she was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. In August 2014, Jodi Arias filed for a retrial, asking to represent herself, and as is her right. The request was granted, although she gave up her intent to represent herself in September. A month later, in October 2014, her retrial began, but barely five months later, the same verdict was reached. Jodi Arias was going to spend the rest of her life in jail for the gruesome murder of Travis Alexander. And that is the end of today's case, and so she should. I definitely agree in sentencing. It was definitely premeditated. There was no way that it was an accident or self-defense, because at the end of the day, most women don't go around carrying weapons like a gun and a knife. You know what I mean? Like, you especially going to your boyfriend, you know what I mean? Like, going to someone that you love and you have a sexual relationship with, especially, you wouldn't carry weapons like that anyway. But what I'm saying is, with someone that you know, you wouldn't go to their house with weapons. No way. So there was intent, and it was a malicious intent. She could have stopped herself. She didn't have to, which she did. Do you know what I mean? Like, her actions are just definitely premeditated. Like, you just don't do that sort of shit every day. You don't go out and buy weapons. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get in America, the gun laws, you know, people can buy guns, but the fact that she purchased it randomly, and then also a knife, and then also her grandparents' house had a pistol missing, and it's like, can people not see the connections, or is it just a bit of a weird coincidence? It's disgusting, and the fact that he even said to his friends that, like, don't be surprised if you find me not alive anymore. Like, it is absolutely horrible. And even his friends, do you know what I mean? Like, they could tell what sort of person she was and the vibe about her, and she just seems like a really jealous, manipulative, evil woman. A really evil woman. And I am so sad because for Travis, because he lost his father, he went through hardship, he was even abused as a little boy, and he went through hardship, he lost his father, but he still managed to get somewhere in his life and his career,